It is a warm welcome to everybody. This is such an honor to be doing a training session. In fact, this is the first training session that we're having with Snappit in their own dedicated space and time. So this particular session, it's all about Snappit and how Snappit can assist us. And joining us today is the very own, who's the CEO and co-founder of Snappit, is Jonathan. Jonathan, how are you doing today on this very short week, which is only one day? Holiday yesterday, weekend today, only one day. How are you doing today?
Morning, Stuart. Thank you so much for the introduction. I have to say, yesterday, driving in the car, I was convinced it was Saturday. Waking up this morning, I was waking up to a Sunday, and then the email started popping in and the reminders started going off. So yes, after I put Steve in his camp, I then made my way through to the computer to start our session. But I made it. I'm here, and I'm very excited to actually share with everybody what makes Snappit very unique and sets us apart as a first of its kind in the world.
Brilliant. And this is something that I've been on the back of this, going around doing these road shows with Andrew over the last couple of days. And we have these private conversations before and after the actual road shows. And the one thing he says to me, he says, Stuart, we get probably on average about 10 to 13 bridge financing that comes through every single day from our agents in different respects and different amounts. And in the past, it was a matter of him rushing out to try and find a printer that he could print, then getting those documents, signing those particular documents, then finding someone that's got a scanner to scan all those documents. And some of these actual agreements are up to nearly 40 pages long. So you try and find a destination that actually has that printer available. And his discussion was, it's absolutely amazing. I get this message on my phone. I go click, 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 and everything's taken care of. And it's actually saved him time. So there's actually this huge positive that's coming right from the top. But let's now start to introduce, what is it that Snappit does differently to all of the other competitors that you have in the market? And then we'll go through the different products.
Fantastic. So Stuart, we entered into the space to try and assist the estate agent. So Snappit is designed to help the estate agents. And from that, we had a look at what different solutions we could provide to help the estate agents secure more sales and in the end be the solution for the client. So they always say that if you can solve a problem for somebody, you lock that client in for life. So that was our core focus. Yes, we're in the finance space, and yes, we aren't in charity. We all need to make money. But how do you attach that end result to an estate agent to help them be better towards the client? So what I would like to do is, and we'll elaborate on the two offerings we'll be discussing today. But effectively, what makes us very unique is the ease of our service. We don't print out anything. We're 100% digital. So as an estate agent, you've got your platform that you do your snaps from, and it's all digital signatures. And with regards to the second point is the speed of our service. We are on average about 60 minutes from collecting the application to actually paying out the client. Yes, that is, we take everything into consideration if the attorneys are actually at work today, or if Andrew is not presenting at that point in time. But we've got thousands of applications, so we take the average of that. And then, of course, the cost. What does it cost? There's no point in being the quickest and the easiest and the fastest if you're the most expensive. So we are the cheapest in the entire country by quite a long shot as well. So keep that in mind as a starting point. The estate agent now has the quickest, fastest, and easiest route to market to access certain offerings. And the second player in this whole journey is the conveyancer or the secretary. For them, it's the same headache. So for Snappit, being able to solve their problem in the same go, where it's a simple digital signature, the information is already pre-populated when it gets to them, it really makes their life a lot easier as well. So in a circle from start to finish in a sales cycle, you tend to keep everybody happy, which is for me a very big thing.
No, perfect. Well, I know from coaching real estate agents and entrepreneurs around the world, there's two things that everybody wants in their life. They want more money and they want more time. And that's exactly what you're actually being able to give to them, is giving them their money earlier and it's always secured there. But more importantly, is giving them more time. And that was one of the big things on the back of Andrew's discussion, was he's getting more time in his day by using Snappit. So it's absolutely fantastic. There's something I want to share before you jump into your actual products, because this actually blew my mind. We had Michelle up in Irene in one of our road shows, and she mentioned, and I'm sure you're aware of this because you know everything that goes through your business, she mentioned that there was a client that had an outstanding, I think it was a bill with the local municipality that was exorbitant. It was, I think, in the region of about 670,000 Rand. It was an absolutely exorbitant amount. And that was the stumbling block between getting a deal completed. And they went through that process. They did the actual Snappit. And guess what? Snappit paid 670. I'm sure, Jonathan, you can confirm what the actual amount was, but it was a vast amount of money to help a deal actually go through in an actual process. And this is one of these key elements to assisting, and that was to help a seller going through a process to actually get a deal done. Else, that agent would not have received any commission because that deal would have fallen absolutely flat. So Michelle shared that, and I think that was an absolutely amazing. It stood out in the back of my head because that is amazing. It's not just like a 10, 15,000 Rand. That is serious, serious money. Jonathan, do you know anything more about that particular deal that went through?
Stuart, yes, I do. So that specific deal is our unicorn deal, simply because we actually did 3 deals at the same time. So in today's discussion, we'll only be discussing two of the 3 deals. The overview of that specific deal was, yes, the client required funds quite urgently. Michelle wanted to access her commission quite urgently, but here's where the kicker came in. The buyer wanting to purchase that property also didn't have the bond and transfer fees or the deposit. So what Michelle did is she actually snapped for a commission, she snapped for the seller to access the proceeds, and she snapped for the buyer to access his deposit, bond, and transfer fees. And we did all of that within 24 hours.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And this is where I think we're taking just the normal idea of bridge financing, which most agents tend to live on as an income stream. They do the deal and hopefully all suspensive conditions are in place, and that's what they live off. But there's other products that you're actually offering. So Jonathan, I want to hand it back to you and allow you to now share. You mentioned you're going to share 2 of those. What are those 2? And over to you, go for it.
Fantastic, Stuart. Thank you. So every single time that a property is sold, an estate agent obviously has the ability to access their commission before the property actually registers. Bridging companies do that normally. We don't refer to ourselves as a bridging company simply because our contracts look differently. We've got way more products, and we actually fall within the NCR rules. So we're a finance house and we offer various solutions. So one of the solutions is you as an estate agent, you would like to access your commission, and we offer that at the cheapest rate in the entire country. And how a person does that is, as an estate agent with EXP, you simply go in on your Okta platform, you will see the Snappit button, you tap it, and I'll actually show you a short little run through, because obviously I'm also registered with EXP, so I'll log into my Okta and show you how to do it. But effectively, if you would like to access your commission, it's as simple as that. The second product, and this is the most important product that I would like to discuss today, the seller having to pay for their rates and taxes, having to pay for their levies, having to pay certain suspensive conditions, XYZ, even for a seller to access personal funds because they need to pay for the moving truck to move from A to B. Usually that's not left in the hands of the estate agent, which is for me a big problem. It happens towards the end of the deal at 99 when the conveyancer sends out that email to the client saying, "Hi client, we are ready to prep and lodge. Please pay 600,000 Rand. If your client does not die from a heart attack, they try to recoup themselves and then try to make a plan to get funds. If they don't, then they lean towards your conventional bridging companies. And not all of them, but yes, unfortunately, there are companies out there that tend to take advantage of people in need, and they charge exorbitant rates. So towards the end of the sales cycle, when funds are accessed through a conventional bridging company, it tends to leave a sour taste in the mouth of the seller, because they were under the impression they were going to get out X amount of the property. Now they're paying these exorbitant rates. So what Snappit has done is said, let's move that from the end right to the beginning, and let's place it in the hands of the estate agent who has the relationship with the client. The estate agent should be the one that says, Mr. Client, there's going to be rates and taxes. We don't know what it is yet. There's going to be levies. We don't know what that is. And if you would like to access your personal, or you'd like to access funds for personal use, we can do that too. And what the estate agent does is you simply go in on your Okta platform and you do the seller snap. From there, all that happens is it's a link that's sent to us with all the relevant information, and our office handles everything. We touch base with your seller, we touch base with the conveyancing firm, we touch base with you if need be, and we complete the entire sales cycle until such time that we can pay the money out towards the seller, and you'll be able to track all of it on your Snappit dashboard. The reason why I'm mentioning this and why I always place emphasis on the seller snap, your game is to sell property, and you are going to sell this property. You might as well be the solution for the client and say, client, we can help you. Help them to access funds at the cheapest rate in the country. And here's the kicker. You get commission from it. Every single time that there's a property sale, you can earn 5% of Snappit's profits. As soon as the property registers and the transferring attorney pays the money back into Snappit, our system loads 5% of our profit for you and pays it as commission. And this becomes quite a large number. I'm not saying you're going to retire from it, but you know what? It will range between 10 and 15,000 Rand a month, which covers a couple of bills. So for me, I always love hearing when Stuart or Andrew mentions about additional revenue streams. This is exactly that. You are already selling the property. Have the conversation with the client to say, we can help you, and simply do a snap. And we take care of everything.
And I think that's one of the key components to this is agents want more money, they want more time. Snappit is actually in a single product doing exactly that. It's giving you more money for doing less work, really. You're actually handing everything over in a very simple process. And what would generally be, well, hey, let's scratch around. Maybe we need to speak to our finance house. Maybe we need to actually go and sell some furniture to turn that into cash. All of these things, which becomes more stressful on the agent's shoulders. Guess what? Snappit actually is taking all of that responsibility on their shoulders and handing all of those communications, which is absolutely phenomenal. And Jonathan, from the time that someone presses that button on the Okta dashboard or having the actual app on their actual phone, which is obviously the alternative way, what is that time span of the information is going through to your office? How quick does your office make contact with those particular sellers and attorneys? And put into perspective your operating hours, because sometimes from an agent's perspective, they could do this on a Saturday at 4 p.m. because that's when they're having those communications. Just so that we obviously have those boundaries, those guidelines as the time factors for when they can actually share that with their clients.
That is actually a great question, Stuart. So as soon as the estate agent does the snap, it's an instant notification that comes to our office, and we've got various admin ladies that attend to applications. And generally, our average turnaround time for one of our admin ladies to call the client is 120 seconds. That's how quick it is. So unfortunately, we are bound to conveyances. If they are closed, we can't operate. They are closed over Saturdays. They are closed before 8 and after 5. And we can do everything we want, but those conveyances will not be signing any documents. So unfortunately, our hands are tied with that respect. But when it comes to acknowledging the receipt of the application and reaching out to the client and chatting to them, we are almost at all times available and wanting to assist.
No, that's fantastic. Because one of the key things in real estate, or actually in business, is communication. And one of the biggest ball droppers that I've actually come to experience is the lack of communication. A lot of people promise a certain expectation and they don't deliver. And that unfortunately then leaves a bit of a negative taste. So having that in place, and I think it's absolutely key via conveyances is a key component to all of this. So for the agents out there that might say, well, why? Why are the conveyances a key component in your business? Why is it that you are restricted to the conveyances? Maybe you can elaborate on that to give the clarity.
Yes, of course. So from our side, there are two parts when it comes to conveyances. One is your bond attorneys and the other is the transferring attorney. So we need to ensure the guarantees are in place before we can actually proceed. So 90% of the time when an estate agent does a snap, it's right at the beginning. It's before the rates and taxes have been requested. It's before the bond attorneys have received or signed with the individuals purchasing the property. But what we do is, as soon as the snap actually happens, we then start the process. So we will then reach out to the seller to inform them of everything and the timeline and how it works. We'll reach out to the transferring attorneys to say that this application is in motion, and we'll reach out to the bond attorney saying that this application is in motion, so that as soon as the individuals have actually signed with the bond attorneys, we can proceed. As soon as the transferring attorneys have received the rates and figures from the municipality, we can proceed. So the nice thing is that because we've got a great relationship with almost all the conveyancing attorneys in the country, there's a very nice back and forth between my office and the attorneys. So from our side, as soon as everything's in place, we can proceed and we can pay. Now, when it comes to an estate agent wanting to access their commission, 90% of the time, it's as soon as the snap is done, everything's already in play. So for those that are on the line that have already used Snappit, I'm pretty sure you can provide some good reference and some insight. For those that have not been on, give it a try, see how quickly and easy it actually is.
Absolutely.
Stuart, sorry. One thing that I'd also like to do is I'd love to show you guys actually how to get into our portal and give you a little bit of a runaround. Stuart, if that's okay.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I was going to lead on to, is now that we understand that there is a legal component behind the actual pushing out of these particular funds, it's now going to the point of, well, Jonathan, it's all great. We've got all this in place. How do we actually do this? So that was leading on. So go for it, Jonathan. You can share your screen. You should have access, and show us how an agent would actually go about this particular process to get to that point.
Fantastic. Let us quickly do entire screen. There we go. So once you are actually logged in, you would find the Snappit button. Simply click on that. You log in with EXP. Oh, well, I logged in this morning. So generally you tap the button, but once you've logged in, it will remember who you are. So as soon as you tap on the Snappit button, it will actually send you through to the platform. So how the platform works, and I'm actually just going to move that over there. How the platform works is these are your snaps, and you will see that these are examples of snaps. As soon as you've actually spoken to the client and you're ready to snap, you always come to the Snappit button. So you simply tap the Snappit button and you choose the relevant snap. If you'd like to snap for your commission, it'll be the top one. Or if you'd like to invite your seller, it would be that one. So I think let us choose the seller snap as an example. You tap that. This is a little indication of just providing detail. This is the cost, R1.20 per thousand per day. We pay out 80% as a maximum of the proceeds that's due to them. And once the snap is matured, the client will obviously provide the proceeds to Snappit and the profit that we've provided, and the balance would then go to the seller. Okay, let's have a look. Stuart, email address, let us use Jonathan, and you would input the telephone number, and you would then say, let's just try this again. 082279909. For those of you who would like to get in touch, that is actually my personal number. And as Murphy's Law would have it, no, there we go. I wasn't going down enough. You'll see the green tab, and that's it.
As easy as that.
Under referrals, there we go. It should be the newest one. Stuart, it's not been accepted. And as simple as that, my office will now reach out to the client, confirm everything, and walk them through the process. As soon as the client is happy to proceed, we will then release the link that goes to the client, and they would fill out the balance. So on your portal over here, on your platform, you will find your top little left sidebar. Something very nice to keep track of is your calculator. Your client would like to know how much things would cost. So simply choose the seller. The amount is 150,000, and it's about 17 days until the property registers. The client will pay 3,060 Rand. If you would like to send the client the quote, you simply tap on send quote, the recipient name and the email, and it will actually send a nice quote to your client. Because obviously clients always ask, how much does it cost? With regards to your sidebar, we've got the leaderboard. The leaderboard, once you actually sign up, you find an avatar and you provide a nickname. Please provide a nickname. Don't be Michelle and type in Michelle. You want to have a little bit of anonymity, but effectively, the leaderboard is for the top estate agent at the end of 2024. Every single time you snap, whether it be for your commission or for the seller, that snap amount gets added to the leaderboard, and the estate agent that is number one at the end of the year will go overseas, all expenses paid. Over and above, obviously, earning commission. With regards to your details, if you'd like to change anything over here or upload your relevant documents, you can do so over there. And the final one, and this is quite important, your info tab. As soon as you tap the info tab, these are short little videos showing you what every single product is. And it shows you when you can trigger it, how it works, what the cost is, just in case you've forgotten how to utilize the system and what the products are for. More than welcome to watch these videos. And yeah, that's about it. As easy as that.
No, fantastic. Well, you know, taking it through this particular process, Jonathan, it's always great for agents to see the back end and to know how simple that particular process is. And just to reiterate, if you've got a seller that's looking at snapping a certain amount to cover those rates and taxes, levies, or anything from that particular basis, you saw how easy that was. It was putting in their name, putting in a telephone number, putting in an email address, and going click. And that process, I'd say, is probably one of the easiest processes that's actually going through. Now, Jonathan, there's a question that always comes into the back of the mind, especially on the back of there's a few little lawsuits happening around the whole Papier Act, which is giving away that particular information. Is there anything that an agent should do prior to just giving those details over to Snappit, just to make sure that compliance is in place?
Yes, Stuart. So as soon as the estate agent chats to the client about Snappit and the client is happy to proceed, that is more than enough, and more than enough proof for Papier compliance. You just need acknowledgement from your client that Snappit can actually reach out to them, and you can provide their cell phone number and email address. If they're happy with that, we're good to go.
Fantastic. So this is one of those huge things, is we want to remain compliant throughout this particular process. So when you're having those discussions with your client, don't just say, oh, this is a good client, let me just put their details in, and then they're getting this phone call going, who are you? Make sure that you're actually having this discussion with your particular client and actually then saying, well, we'll get one of the consultants from Snappit. Let's just put those details through so they're well aware of it, because it's in your favor to actually be compliant throughout this particular process. So, Jonathan, if agents are now getting into the place where they're going, this is great, this is working for me, but I actually have a few questions, and I'd love to be able to communicate with someone to get some more information. I see the info tab with the videos, which is great, but we know we always like to speak to somebody or have that communication. Where can people find Snappit to actually have these type of conversations?
Stuart, great question. And I'm always a firm believer that people do business with people. Yes, we are a fintech business and we're quick and we're easy and it's slick, but the human interaction is always for me very important. As soon as you tap on your Snappit button and you log in, you get linked to a key account manager within the Snappit team, and they will call you. They'll probably call you within the 5 minutes of you logging in, introduce themselves, and they'll send you an email with all the information. If you somehow lose that information, you can simply just go onto our website and there's a Let's Talk button. And one of our admin ladies will also be in touch. So we are always available.
Fantastic, Jonathan. Another great session, and thank you for your time. I definitely look forward to having our next session and also seeing you out in the actual world itself. Guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming onto this particular session today with Snappit, Jonathan from Snappit. Hopefully this has given you a new lease of life to see how you can save time and actually make a little bit of additional income. So from myself, Stuart, I want to wish you all a fantastic weekend ahead. And remember, the future of your real estate, it starts with pushing that button and snapping it. So you have a fantastic day further. Until next time, have a great weekend. Cheers, guys.